And okay, begin.
Okay, very good. This evening, everyone, I'd like to call to session this public work action meeting for the Mahwah Board of Education for September 9th, 2020. Please note, due to the COVID-19 health crisis, this meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education will not be physically open to the public. This is to ensure we follow best practices for social distancing. Board meeting will be live streamed to the public via Zoom. The webinar ID for this meeting is 919-756-30004. And the required password is 740148. During the public portion of this meeting, members of the public can participate through the Q&A feature of Zoom. All participants must provide their name and address, and your comment and/or question will be read and included in the board's public record of the meeting, just as it would for a standard board meeting. Mr. Bleeger, could you please take roll call?
Mr. Gallo. Here. Mr. Kizmorski. Here. Ms. Conoco.
Here.
Dr. Morphy.
Here.
Ms. Saccone.
Here.
Mr. Copland.
Here.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Denise.
Here.
And Ms. Barron.
Here. Adequate notice of agenda of this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News and the Record, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on September 9th, 2020 in the administrative offices, 60 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the township clerk. Would everyone please rise for a salute to the flag? And Ms. Saccone, would you like to lead us in this salute? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Kyle, you have some things you'd like to say this evening?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Just 2 points of order for tonight's meeting. We do have an executive session listed. That executive session is going to be moved from the next item to the end of the meeting. There will be no action taken following that executive session, and no topics during executive session relate to any agenda items that are on the agenda for this evening. One other item to mention as it relates to the agenda, there was one additional item added since the agenda was publicly posted for the public on our website earlier this week. That agenda item that has been added is agenda item 17R. I will read the agenda, the resolution in full for the benefit of the public who did not have this on the copy that was provided earlier this week. Resolution 17R, Leave of Absence with Pay, Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. Resolve that employee ID number be granted a federal statutory Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act leave of absence with benefits for 3 days for reason number 5, requiring two-thirds the regular per diem rate not to exceed $200 per day. That's the resolution that has been added. It's the only resolution that is added for this evening's agenda. Ms. Barron?
Okay, I'd like to open to the public for agenda questions. I have a motion to open to the public. I was going to read it right after I took the motion. Go ahead. Mr. De Silva, second by Ms. Conoco. So please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one, and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation is limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. Okay, let's give a little time to see if anyone has any questions.
Ms. Barron, it's been 1 minute. No questions have come in through the question and answer feature that we are using. You're okay to continue the meeting.
Okay, I'd like a motion to close the meeting to the public. Mr. De Silva, again, second by Ms. Monaco. Dr. Fitz, you have a report for us this evening.
Yes, I do have a report.
Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon to members of the board. Okay, thank you. That's got it. Thank you very much. Yes, I do have a report, Madam President. To members of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to say to you that we opened school this year vastly different from the way that many of you are accustomed to opening schools. However, school was opened very successful. This year will challenge our staff as well as our students to find the new normal way of learning and teaching. But we are starting on the journey. As I visited the school, it was extremely gratifying to see teachers reaching out to students and parents bringing students to school and faculty engaging with parents. As a result of that, my visits, I want to thank so many people for helping to make the opening of school so successful. I'm probably going to make the mistake of forgetting some, but I'm going to try not to. I want to thank all of the people who shared their time, their talent, their energy, and their know-how to help us get off to a great start. We can start right with the custodians who prepared the building for cleanliness and for safety. We can thank the technicians who really got our technology program up and going to help us facilitate the learning process. Turn to the leadership in the schools, the principals, the vice principals. Then turn to the service workers in the school nurses, the guidance counselor, and even teachers who came in to prepare their rooms for the kids. So we've had a lot of people involved in this process. My own staff here in this office and the administrators of the staff who work relentless, touching bases with every to make sure that they were operational. And so that's what helped us to get off to a great start. But the community came forth. About 19 to 20 persons came to a meeting and shared their knowledge and offered their assistance that we readily accepted to help us to have a great start. We had no traffic problems because our police department was there at our schools directing and moving traffic because parents were dropping off kids. So it was a collaborative effort of all of you, all of us, working in the same direction to get the school off to a great start. But the challenge now comes to keep it going. We've gotten it started, but we got to keep it going. So I need the same energy from the same people, the same know-how to keep it going. So now the staff is going to talk about more specifics. Personnel, we'll start off with Dennis. Would you be willing to share your experience? Tell them what you learned.
Absolutely, Dr. Fitz. Can you hear me? Okay. So an update regarding personnel for the 2020-21 school year. The year has been unique with staffing as we've updated throughout the summer. And we were charged with staffing our typical program as well as our fully remote program. And I believe we've been really successful in doing so. A huge thank you to my office for coming up with creative solutions and finding ways to make sure that all vacancies have been filled in time. A special thank you particularly to Connie Lee and Margaret Gruss, who are secretaries for the HR office, who are doing a lot behind the scenes that no one even sees. So they've worked all summer tirelessly to assist in getting our buildings prepared. And really that preparation to see the kids in our buildings over the last 2 days with their supportive teachers and paraprofessionals and our administrators has made all of these efforts really worth it. So I'm so happy to get started and I'm so happy to be back. So thank you, Dr. Fitz.
I'll go. Yes, I'll go next, Dr. Fitz. Thank you. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the qualified nursing staff that has worked with our administration to develop procedures that are rooted in the guidance from our district physician, the Center for Disease Control, and the New Jersey Department of Health. We have also consulted with the Mahwah Department of Health, Northwest Bergen Regional Health Commission, as well as our assigned contact tracer. Today, families received written information about health and in particular COVID. Our procedures were most recently tested with an asymptomatic positive case at the Betsy Ross School. All decisions made were consistent with CDC guidance, as well as in consultation with some of the experts listed earlier. We recognize that with everything as related to this pandemic, there will be a need to review procedures over time and adjust based on medical recommendations. We are sincerely requesting that our families and students, and I'm speaking specifically to the high school students, complete their daily attestation form. Please stay vigilant and follow our protocols of social distancing, hand washing, and wearing masks. Help us to mitigate the risk. Please do not come to school if you are unwell. Most importantly, if you have questions, please contact your private physician as well as our qualified school nurses. It has been a wonderful start. I am so grateful to the professionals in our building, both those that are responsible for the health and wellness physically, as well as our professionals who are responsible for the social and emotional wellness of our students. Thank you, Dr. Fitz.
From the curriculum and instruction side, I'm extremely proud of the work that's been done by so many people to make this experience not only possible, but a successful one. You know, we welcome back our students yesterday to the brick and mortar experience, but also to our fully remote experience. You know, that was a monumental task to say the least. The community building aspect of our district, you know, we talk about Mahwah Connects all the time, but now more than ever, it's really essential to make sure that our kids, both in-house and in their own house, feel like they're a part of our community. So I can't compliment the staff and the administrative team enough in each building. They welcome the kids back with open arms. You could feel the energy, the positive energy of the kids being back, the teachers being back, even though there's a lot of mixed emotions. You know, obviously that energy was they feel like they're back at home, which was really, really good to see. Along the lines of the social emotional aspect, we talk all the time, especially in the reentry part, about how important this is. Not only did that connection happen there, but it's been happening over the summer through the videos that were being pushed out. There's new videos that were being pushed out by the schools that Dennis and his team embedded into our reentry website. Each school did a welcome back video, which is, I highly recommend people jumping on the reentry website. It is underneath the reopening guides tab. Those reopening guides are specific to the school and give a lot of information about the functioning of the school, but the videos are absolutely fantastic. And it really warms your heart to see. And it's my hope that the kids got a chance to see that as well, to see how excited everyone is to welcome them back. That not only goes for all the schools, but our fully remote staff did that as well for our fully remote population. So I was really happy that everybody was addressed in that process. Another piece of the social emotional side is that we continue to partner with Mindful Practices. We sent out a welcome back video to the staff last week, first day back, just saying we know that there's a lot of feelings coming back, but we're in this together, and giving them different tools and strategies to make sure that they can have a level head and be open to taking one foot in front of the other and moving forward. And we're here to support them along the way. We also sent another video explaining that relationship over time over the course of the year. And then this week we sent student-specific resources to our staff that they can pick and choose to see what they feel comfortable embedding into their practice to make sure that mindfulness experience really carries over the K-12 experience. Technology, I'm very happy to report on the instructional side, has improved. I know Mr. Bleeker will speak about it a little bit more, but it has improved since last week. And incrementally, it's getting better every day. And I am very happy to report that is my hope as of Friday, after that upgrade is completed, we will continue to get better as we continue to go on. We really appreciate the patience of the community and the staff, and we're looking forward to continued improvement there. Our remote learning experience, Ms. Linda Boney has been working extremely hard with the teachers to make sure that all of our students are attended to and supported and welcomed, just like we did at the brick and mortar experience. She has been popping in and out of classrooms, and we've been working together each day to make sure that we build that brand new program. This is a new reality for all of us. The teachers are working extremely hard to make that a warm and welcoming digital space. And that's something that we're going to continue to monitor and improve over time. To continue the thank yous, there's a couple that I would like to share. The building-based administrative team and guidance department, everyone who was involved in the scheduling of all of this, I can't even begin to explain the depth of and how complex this was, and for them to be able to get this done, kudos to them. It was a lot of sleepless nights, and I just want to say thank you from all of us. It worked. We're going to continue to adjust as we need to, but thank you very much for them. The tech department continues to shine. They were able to give out the laptops to make sure our 612 students were supported, but not only the 612 students that were supported, they were tasked with giving out laptops to our remote community, which was a big task, and it continues. So they are definitely bobbing and weaving and doing everything they can to make sure that our district is up and running in both worlds. So instructionally, we're for day 2. I'm very, very proud of where we're at. And again, we're going to continue to identify what needs to get better, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Fitz. Yes, as well as continuing the thank yous and commenting on some of the work that has been done over the summer and the several months leading us to the reopening of schools that we had yesterday. I just want to take a moment and thank the facilities and custodial team that we have here. There was some changes to cleaning procedures and enhancements that were done. They took those enhancements and additional work related to our schedule for that in-between period at our school, at some of our elementary schools. Mr. Romero and Mr. Koba from Pritchard Services, Mr. Romero, our Buildings and Grounds Supervisor, Mr. Koba from Pritchard Services. A big thank you to them and their team and their staffs, district custodians, and those that we have from Pritchard. Our busing department as well and transportation department also had to have some changes to what their typical opening would look like with the additional routes that are being run for the midday shifts and the minimum day schedules at the elementary and middle and high schools. Thank you to the vendors that we work with, Scholastic Bus Services and Durham Transportation Services. as well as, of course, our internal transportation staff, drivers, all led by Ms. Scatino, our transportation supervisor. Two other areas that I wanted just to comment on, three other areas actually, is our cafeteria services. Our food services also had some changes done to it over the summer. Changes from the federal and the state level as it pertains to the eligibility for students to receive lunch at no cost. Thank you to Pomptonians Food Services, who we've had in our district for many years now. They've always provided us excellent service and condition and continue to. Jack Petruniak and Holly Kryzak and their regional manager, Doug Katz, were all instrumental in making some of the last minute changes that came down from the Department of Agriculture and State Department of Agriculture come to fruition. Ms. Cheryl Ambrose, also from the business office, played a significant role in some of the changes and getting some of the communication out to parents, and I want to thank her for that also. The technology staff, as Dr. DeToro had said, a big thank you for all of the things that they made happen over the summer and brought to fruition for their start of the school year. Mr. Carlos Rosa, the Director of Technology, and also our in-district technicians and the technicians that we also have provided to us from Northern Regional Ed Services Commission. Thank you to them for addressing the needs of the district staff and students. And lastly, for everybody in the business office, thank you to the staff there for all of their work over the summer as well, accounts payable, payroll, and also assisting the auditors in the middle of all this with our annual school audit. Having them is a crucial piece of the operations for the district, and I want to thank them as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to thank the team for the remarks that they made. They really made a difference in terms of helping us to get the school off to a great start. And finally, I'd like to thank you as a board of trustees who entrusted this district to us to do the work that you look forward to us doing without interference. I really thank you for that. It gave us a chance to stay focused and focus on our primary mission of getting the school year off. And we will continue to work at that speed and with that focus.
Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone. I unmuted myself. Okay, thank you to everyone. The board is very grateful to everyone involved with their schools for starting the school year fantastically and handling any situations that have arisen quite professionally. And we thank you very much for that. Let's see, committee reports. Do we have any committee reports for this evening? Anyone? No, okay. All right, I'm sorry, Mr. Bleeker, something else for us this evening?
Thank you, Ms. Barron. On the business administrator report this evening, I only have one item to report on. That is a change to the schedule as it relates to the November 3rd, 2020 general election that's occurring this year. Part of Executive Order 177 that Governor Murphy signed in August does pertain to the ability to have school districts be available as a polling place if there is a need within the district or within the borough where the election is taking place. I did receive notification from the township that there will be a need based on some of the polling places, and they're able to accommodate social distancing this year. Therefore, the township will be using Mahwah High School as a polling place on November 3rd. The school will be closed that day. We will be having remote learning for that day for all students. Ms. Cavello, the township clerk, will be providing more detail as far as what districts will be reporting there. But I did want to report to the Board of Education that we will be used as a polling place for the November 3rd election this year.
Thank you very much.
Quick question on that.
Oh, yes.
Did she specify where exactly in the high school? Usually,
Yep. As it relates to where in the high school, it looks, we're going to have that conversation with Mr. Pascal, but in preliminary conversations, the gymnasium appears to be the best place for that to accommodate individuals that may have accessibility needs for handicap access.
okay.
Mr. Coppell?
Will the other schools be open for the hybrid students, or will all the schools be closed, or just the high school?
The approach that we have is that all the schools will be doing remote virtual instruction that day.
Is that one of the weeks that we're also going to be off on that Wednesday, or are we in, I know it's Teachers Convention week, so I know Election Day is Tuesday, but is that the every other Wednesday that we're off? So will the kids be learning virtually Tuesday and Wednesday, or is it just Tuesday?
I don't know if that is one of the other every other Wednesdays. We'll look at that, and as we get closer, the administration and principals will give further guidance on what that day will look like.
That will be part of the phases as we continue to look at the schedule in an ongoing way. November's a little far out, so we're kind of taking it week by week, but we're still deciding if Tuesday is going to be switched with that Wednesday or what. We're figuring it out. But once we know, everyone else will know.
And is there a reason why we're going to close all schools, similar to what we're doing with Betsy Ross this week? Can the other schools remain open while the high school is closed?
We can certainly consider that.
Okay, and do we have any board committee reports? You said nothing this evening? Okay. Dennis does not have a report yet. Okay, board member remarks or additional comments on reports or non-agenda items? Do you have any comments on any non-agenda items from any board members this evening? Okay. Yes, Mr. DeSilva.
So real quick, it's been an interesting journey to watch from, the last couple of months. All the work that's gone into opening this week between the office, the work that central office staff has done and building leadership, obviously the IT staff, certainly the custodial staff to get the buildings ready, but especially the teachers. Watching the welcome back videos was really cool. We did a little bit of late summer learning. We actually were introduced to a new unit of measurement called the DeLugo, which I didn't know existed. So, but now we know it's about 7 lockers wide or about 6 feet. So it's, watching the videos are really cool. They were really creative, and it was really cool to see the teachers jump into it, and they looked like they were having a lot of fun with it and enjoying themselves. But they were also very informative as far as drop off was a little bit different. What the classrooms are going to look like was a little bit different. What the hallway looks like is a little bit different. Rather than having everybody show up and sort of, everybody's figuring it out on the fly, the kids had the opportunity to know exactly what to expect. And I think that, their extra work really went into, making the opening smoother. As a parent, are my kids ever happy to go back to school? They're as happy as they could be. It's happy. They're happy to be back in, to see their friends. I think it's really good for them to be back on, get back, to have some structure and back on a schedule after the spring and the summer that we had. So thank you to, all the people, and it's sort of been covered already. All the people involved in making, being able to have our district open and open successfully. Obviously, each cohort has been in school 1 day, so there's going to be a lot of ramping up. They're still, in the icebreaker stage at the beginning of the year and all that stuff. So obviously, what the kids are seeing in class now isn't what they're going to be seeing for the rest of the year. Where it's you gotta get in, get your feet wet, walk before you run. So it's definitely it's ramping up, but it's I'm happy to see that we're open and open successfully.
Thank you, Mr. DeSilva. Anyone else? Okay, may I have a motion to proceed on new business 16A through P? Ms. Zaccone, second by Mr. Gallo. Do you have any comments or questions on any of these items? All right, would you please take roll call, Mr. Bleeker?
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarski,
Yes.
Ms. Comico,
Yes.
Dr. Morty,
Yes.
Ms. Saccone, Mr. Copland,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. Now is a motion to proceed on new business A through R. Mr. Kazmarski, second by Dr. Morthy. Do we have any comments or questions on any of these items from any board members? We're good to go. Okay, Mr. Bleeker, could you please take roll call?
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
Mr. Kazmarski,
Yes.
Ms. Comico, Dr. Morthy,
Yes.
Ms. Saccone, Mr. Copland,
Yes.
Mr. De Silva,
Yes.
Mr. Denise,
Yes.
and Ms. Barron.
Yes. Now, with public questions or comments, so this section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. May I please have a motion to open to the public? Mr. Copland, second by Mr. De Silva. We're now open for public questions. Let's take a few moments.
Okay, Ms. Barron, there are some questions that have come in. First that came in is from Ms. Janine Grasso, 5 Herring Lane. General question, comma, statement. First, thank you for working so incredibly hard to get us to this point. Both my kids are in the hybrid plan and absolutely loved being back in the building and getting live engagement with the teachers, masks and all. The teachers have been amazing. Through community engagement, several parents at the JK school have expressed concerns. The virtual learning part of the day for hybrid students, the content is very light. We know this will evolve and we are hopeful, but at this point, parents and students are expecting more. Example of a current day, in person, 2.25 hours, one special a day, 40 minutes. Total, 3.05 hours. The reentry plan assumes 4 hours, 15 minutes. 2.25 in school, 1.5 virtual, total time 4 hours, 15 minutes. The traditional JK day is 6.5 plus hours. This is very worrisome for that our children are not getting as much enriched learning as they should, and as compared to other districts who are getting 6 hours of learning enriched engagement a day. How do you plan to address and close the gap?
The next question asked this about the Ridge too. So let me kind of talk about the remote expectations and generalities specific to the elementary school and then the middle school. Along the lines of the identification of instructional time, as we shared in the reentry meeting, we spoke about at the elementary level, the core instruction, reading, writing, math, word study is going to take place during that time. If you're an AM student, you get that in the morning. And then in the afternoon, you continue to get instruction through your specials. And then there's also going to be science, social studies, makerspace, and also additional asynchronous learning experiences. Asynchronous meaning that you're not with a live teacher, but there are going to be activities that's going to extend the learning. Now, obviously in day 2, those extended learning experiences are not there yet. So I will acknowledge that they did have their in-school instruction now, and then they had their specials starting today. As we continue, starting next week, and as the curriculum starts to come, because as we shared, we're trying to get the kids back into school right now, we are going to start assigning those specific activities to extend that learning day. To talk about the 4 hours and 15 minutes compared to the 6 hours, we are on a truncated day, which is very much aligned to a large number of districts, but when you're looking at a 6-hour day, you're also acknowledging that there's an hour lunch in between that fills both lunch and recess. So we are incrementally exposing the students to content now that we welcome them back. So our plan with the instructional time has been sent to the county, has been approved specific to instruction and all the things in between. So that is also a piece that I want to make sure that not only the board knows, but the community knows. So Ms. Grasso is absolutely right. As of right now, they're getting the core. I'm saying core, but the first couple of days is really welcome, meet and greet, establishing that family connection in school. So, you know, I don't want to say content is being covered yet, because it's not. We're welcoming them back. We're talking about routines. We're talking about the new norm. And then we're also exposing them to specials. So I can please be assured that in the coming days, not only will they be getting that and the specials, but purposeful learning tasks will be embedded into their learning schedule. So that's the answer.
Thank you, Dr. DeToro.
As Dr. DeToro has said, there is a second question that came in from another individual. A reminder to everybody, please include your name and address when you type your questions so we can keep them for record. I will read this into the record. However, Dr. DeToro, I believe, has already addressed all of the items within this. Why is my fifth grader's school day only consists of 2.5 max 3 hours of learning a day? What happened to a full day, knowing that lunch and recess time was about 1 hour? Whereas the other 2.5 hours of learning? Why are other districts such as Allendale able to figure this out? Why is the Ridge a half day every day? Why can't school continue virtually in the afternoon? How are the children to learn usual 15-minute class periods down to 30? How is that quality learning? Why couldn't the schools create a virtual classroom? Why can't you have a camera in classroom on teacher and whiteboard and teach a lesson and those remote zoom in, and thus have a full school day for some kids? And as Dr. DeToro was responding to Ms. Grasso did say, thank you, that incremental step approach should be communicated. It has not been to date. Comment came in from Ms. Brooke Gaslow, 552 Adirondack Court. A big thank you to the teachers for making the start of the school year go smoothly for all students. Are the side wipes being used in all schools in the district? If so, don't you find concern that it says hazardous to humans and domestic animals? Then it goes on to say, avoid contact with eyes or clothing. Wash hands thoroughly with soap and water after handling and before eating, drinking, chewing gum, using the toilet, etc. How is this safe for children? Their hands are constantly rubbing their eyes. The chances of the wipes not touching the clothing is absurdly small. Many of them drink after handling those wipes or going to the bathroom. And you are supposed to institute a snack policy, possibly in the older grades. What if they eat after touching one of the wipes? Are you sending everyone to wash their hands after? Ms. Gaslow goes on to say, my daughter decided to go remote after being in school yesterday because she was nervous about the closeness of students in the hallway and is a big rule follower. I couldn't be happier that she chose this path now. I wish my son would, but I won't force him to stay home. I'll have to send him with wipes that are bacteria killing and safe to touch. I now understand why one of my children's teachers would not let the students use the wipes. They told the students what seats were not previously sat in. I can only believe that the teachers are looking out for our children. I spoke to a doctor in NYC this evening and told him about these wipes. He said they are absolutely not necessary. An alcohol wipe is satisfactory to kill what it has to. I am deeply disappointed by this lack of looking out for our children. Please explain.
What you started off, Kyle.
Certainly.
We were in discussion about that.
Yes. With regard to the wipes that are being used, we did research them prior to them being in. We do have the SDS sheets on them. The SDS sheets, which we utilize, show that they are satisfactory and okay to be used within a school setting. As far as their use in the school, they are not being used by the students in the younger level grades, and their use at the upper level grades is often followed with use of sanitizer afterwards as well. Those conditions we feel are appropriate to continue to have them be used, along with the other information that we have. Mr. Andy Butel, president of the MEA, also posted a response. First, I would like to thank the administration for their increased responsiveness to emails sent by the association and also for the meetings we had last week. While several issues have been addressed, we are still concerned by the risks associated with our return to school. Unfortunately, these risks were realized by our colleagues at Betsy Ross, who we all hope stay well. In an effort to reduce the time staff are in the building to mitigate the risk of exposure, particularly during deep cleaning, the association has formally requested that our 6 to 12 staff be offered the flexibility to hold virtual office hours remotely, and that our K-12 staff be offered the flexibility to work remotely on the Wednesdays designated for remote learning and the deep cleaning of our buildings. These moves would allow us to still maintain the quality education we provide for our students and would increase the safety of our staff. Has the board considered these requests?
Hi, Andy. Just wanted to share with you, as I shared with you earlier today, we've provided both proposals to the Board of Education, and they're currently under consideration.
Ms. Ellen Park, who had asked the questions following Ms. Grasso, 2 Surrey Lane. Since Janine Grasso already answered my question number 1, please answer questions 2 and 3.
What are questions 2 and 3?
Okay. Sure.
Yes, about the room.
I'm reading them now. She means for second and third question, not questions 2 and 3.
Right.
Do that? Okay. Along the lines of why can't we continue virtually in the afternoon? Just like I said at the elementary level, the expectations will continue as we go through the afternoon. The teachers will have virtual office hours where they'll be able to support our students and create small group instructional experiences for our 6 to 12 students. I believe there was a question that was specific to a virtual classroom. Why can't we have a camera in the classroom on a teacher and a whiteboard and teach a lesson and those remote Zoom in? Along the lines of that, I don't know if I'm reading the question correctly. We do have the ability for students to have access to what is happening live. So the teachers will be utilizing the Zoom function. They'll be not only, the students will not only be hearing the instruction that is going on, they'll be sharing their screen so they can see the content that is being covered. That's in their at-home day. Obviously, while they're in school, they'll have access to that from bell to bell. We did acknowledge that when the teachers are finished with that mini lesson or overall lesson and they start to break out into small groups, that feed will not be continuing along the lines of them hearing the teachers working in other small groups. So they'll be able to have access to live instruction even while they're at home. I hope I'm answering that question correctly.
Okay. 2 others that came in, Ms. Brooke Caslow, that does not make sense. Why does the label contradict what's being said by you? The only thing I can say in response to that is the MSDS sheet that I had referred to earlier, regarding those clean side wipes, has been posted to our website. It's under our reopening plan for anybody that wishes to see what details are included within them. Mr. Andy Butel, MEA President, do you anticipate when we will have a response from the board? This is regarding the issues that they sent to us earlier.
After this meeting, Andy, after this meeting, we are sharing the proposals with the board. They will be considering those via executive session. Also, Mrs. Goslow, to just to go along with what Mr. Bleeker just shared, at the very bottom of the reentry plan, the reentry 2020 tab on our website, there is a sub-tab that is titled Cleaning Products MSDS. And if you click that, you'll be able to see the very last PDF is the wipes that you're speaking to. The safety data is listed there.
And the last question that we have here is from Michael Doris. Michael Doris, MEA, and following to Andy's question, we have heard from administration that they are considering the request. That is appreciated. Was the educational advantage of having teachers in the building teaching virtually over doing so in their homes where the environment is safer when students are not present? Again, as Mr. Fair had mentioned, the board will be discussing those requests after following today's meeting. And Ms. Barron, no other questions are currently in the chat.
I thank you everyone for those questions, and thank you everyone for answering those questions. We have a motion to close to the public. Mr. Kazmarski, second by Mr. Gallo. And I have a motion to adjourn. Oh,
Yep, adjourn to
we have to
executive session.
adjourn, you have to, yes, I'm sorry. Adjourn to executive session. Mr. De Silva, second by Dr. Marthy.
As stated earlier, the board is going to enter into executive session. Right now, there is no action to be taken following the executive session. We will immediately adjourn the meeting when executive session is concluded, but this will close the meeting for members of the public at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.